Welcome to Stick to Rugby, brought to you by Defender. We thought we'd get one of the Red Roses, Mackenzie Carson, to join us.
I remember Skaz turned up to one of our under-20s games to watch, and I was just like, oh my god, that's Emily Scarrett, like that's so cool. There wasn't a girls team, there was a women's team, but there wasn't anything for age grade rugby, so like I grew up playing with the boys, and I kind of thought I'd rock up, and if they didn't get picked, I'd go play for a local club, work in a coffee shop, and just have a good year out. That was kind of the plan.
Hold on a minute, so you had no problem putting together sizzle reels and videos, and yet when the coach comes in to front orders a cup of coffee,
you melt.
100%, that is literally the definition of who I am. I moved to England to get experience playing in the hopes that I would be capped for Canada. And I'm kind of in the mindset of like, well, you should take every opportunity that you're given because you never know how long you'll be playing for. And you know, my first cap for England was Sarah Hunter's last cap, and I think that's just kind of such a special experience. And now she's our coach.
We've driven to Bristol. Lawrence has already been in your house.
Yep.
No one, and you weren't there.
Don't think he's stolen anything, but yet to be confirmed. So
I know my way around Bristol, thankfully, because my son was at Enzo was at university here for 3 years.
You had a good rummage though, didn't you, Lol, around there?
No, not at all. I was let in, and I was just I needed a comfort break, I think is the best way to describe it.
Any good snacks in there or what?
It was. I tell you what, there's a bit of work to do.
Yeah, a lot of work to do. But
it's a stunning flat and beautiful view.
It's got good bones, as they say, good potential is what we'd say about our flat. But
what would be your snack of choice then?
Ooh, to be honest, I'm really into the little pork puff protein snacks at the minute. Actually, they feel like a crisp. They aren't a crisp for sure, but they feel like a little bit of a cheat and good protein hit these days. But
you see, I have to have something that's got protein, but actually quite sweet as well.
Yeah.
So I like those sort of peanut butter. They sell them in twos, those little biscuits or whatever they are.
Yeah.
What about you, Shanks?
Well, my rugby days are gone now, so I like your sausage rolls, Lawrence.
Yeah. Not a kebab, I was what you were going to say.
No, I'd go healthy, man. I'd go sheesh.
Sheesh. Oh, sheesh.
Don't know if I'm super drunk. Sheesh if I'm trying to be healthy.
No, you have a sheesh on the side.
But no, Lawrence makes cracking sausage rolls.
Yeah, I do like a bit of cooking, a bit of home cooking.
Are you a baker or a?
You know what? I'm actually neither. I'm a order in type of gal. I like somebody to cook for me, really, to be honest. But I do love a home cooked meal, and I don't know why I haven't taken it upon myself to be a better cook. But no, it's not in my repertoire.
Now, coming from Canada, I mean, when you order in, that probably take about 3 hours, doesn't it?
Yeah, usually they send it by pigeon and then they just drop it off, and
you know
it
what
takes a couple months, really.
What I found amazing about touring in Canada and just being in Canada, it's such a beautiful country and great people, but no one bats an eyelid at getting in the car for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, we've got to go, to Toronto or Vancouver or whatever,
100%.
And it's like, hold on a minute, that's like 2.5 hours.
That's
away.
like the difference. Like Italy is everything's 20 minutes away, like in Rome.
Yeah.
Well,
when I first moved here, that was probably like the biggest shock I had, was like, you'd ask for a lift from somebody and they're like, oh really, 10 minutes down the road? No way, man, like get the train or something. And I'm like, seriously? Like, I drive 4 hours round trip for a game of rugby usually, so it's just a completely different lifestyle, isn't it?
Just while we're on that, why rugby? Was it always thus? Were you did you have like family that had played rugby before? Because if you're brought up in Canada,
ice hockey.
Ice hockey. I don't know, even football or American football. It wouldn't necessarily be, or basketball. It wouldn't be, or athletics. It wouldn't necessarily be rugby straight away. Yeah,
to be honest, I think I just lucked out because my dad and my brother played, and it was kind of just a rugby family. Like I grew up around it. It was kind of the thing to do, and where I lived is like a little city called Abbotsford, and for whatever reason it was just a hotbed for rugby. Like everyone played rugby. It was quite a good club environment. The community was really involved in it. So for whatever reason it was just such a good little rugby patch. And I actually was looking through some old photos the other day, and I have a little picture of me as a baby sat naked on a rugby ball. So it's like one of those things where I think rugby finds you kind of in a lot of ways. Like you just kind of get swept up into it. And my dad took me along. I didn't really have much of a choice. I had to go with my brother. And
how old were you?
I think I started playing about 8. Yeah, I think I was about 8 years old, and yeah, I kind of had played a few sports growing up, but mainly ice hockey and rugby were things. So in the winter I'd play ice hockey, and then in the spring time I'd play mini rugby.
I get I get the feeling that ice hockey is a bit like rugby, but with sticks, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much, to be honest.
You know, obviously you've got the skating thing you got to deal with, but because I growing up a lot earlier than you, I can assure you that the Canadian men's team were a seriously hot rugby team. I mean, they were good. You know, the `𝗢{ 𝗧𝗵𝗲 era.
Played at Wasps, didn't he?
Yeah, 𝗢{𝗧 𝗵𝗲 played at Wasps. Norm Hadley, the late great Norm Hadley, played at Wasps. You know, Scotty Stewart, who played at Harlequins. There were some really, really good players, and they, you know, they were one of the sort of coming forces you know. And I guess where did your dad play then? Did he play for a club side locally?
Yeah, he just played locally. Like, he just played in school growing up, and I think played some regional stuff. But like, my parents had kids quite young, and life kind of took a different path for them. And I think he kind of always wishes that he had stuck with it, and he wishes that he had kind of gone down the professional route. But I'm not sure he was probably good enough. He just claims to be, if that old knee hadn't blown out, type of thing. But yeah, no, he just played locally, and then kind of just forced us to watch it and play, and he just had a real passion for it. And then, yeah, we just went and did it, and it turned out I was half decent at it, so I just kind of stuck with it.
And I guess, you know, for you, because a lot of people, a lot of girls, women playing rugby was seen as a bit strange in certain other countries. Nothing unusual about that in Canada. It was,
to be fair though,
it was embraced. It was
kind of was though. Like, I played with the boys growing up. Like, there wasn't a girls team. There was a women's team, but there wasn't anything for age grade rugby. So like, I grew up playing with the boys, and it was kind of a bit like, oh, women don't really play that, and it's not taught in schools in Canada either. So the accessibility to it is pretty low. But for whatever reason, the club I was at just was like, sure, come along. And so I played with the boys up until I was about 12, and then from there it's like you go straight to under 18s and women. So I was 12 playing with basically adults, which is that's probably more the issue.
Were you back? Were you forward?
To be fair, I actually went to university and I played 10. I had a full scholarship to university to play 10-12. So that is my actual claim to fame.
Well, I find this incredible that you've actually. I was reading about it.
I was a serious baller.
Fly half centre, and then ended up playing you played in the back row. You've played hooker. You played prop.
I've just slowly gained more weight and just moved slowly up the pitch, and I just came back in less fit every preseason.
Is there any position that you haven't played? Let's just look at it.
To be fair, I've not played in the second row, and I think I draw the line at that. Yeah, I think that if I hit that point, it's going to be retirement for me if that's the only choice, and probably not in the back three. I think I stay away from that. Although I would love to play attack on the wing, but then when it comes to defense, I think that's both my.
Well, you can do that. You can just keep the width in games.
Yeah. And you know what? Most of the wingers just yell at people all day, and people just tune them out anyway. So I'm like, well, it can't be that hard.
If you play in the front row for long enough, you end up hanging around on the wing anyway.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm doing my job right, I'm out there sometime.
Stick to Rugby, brought to you by Defender.
Talk us through the pathway then that you took to getting a full cap for the Canadian team.
Yeah, it was like a pretty straight and narrow path, to be honest. Like, there's not a ton of structure in terms of like, you kind of have to pay your way through everything. So you kind of play at your school or your club, and then you go to kind of regional stuff, and then you go to provincial stuff, and then you get selected to play for Canada.
But how does going to high school and college, how does that interfere with your rugby? Because presumably in Canada, that's where you went to school and college.
Yeah.
You went to, what was it, British Columbia, and then Yale, did you?
So my school is called Yale Secondary, which is quite funny because when you say, "Oh, I went to Yale," people think you've achieved a lot more than you actually have.
Just leave it at that. That's perfect. You know, I mean, Shanks is the same. You know, when he says Cardiff Tech,
I went to Brunel actually. Though. Studied economics.
That's because it's an open door there.
To be fair, you can put anything on your Wikipedia.
If you get too easy,
sports science.
Yeah.
No one checks it though, do they?
Yeah, literally. But yeah, no, I just played at school, and then. Like, it was.
So did they play at Yale? Rugby?
Yeah. So my high school, for whatever reason, we just had quite a good rugby program. Like, it was, you didn't get taught it in school at all, but you could play it after school, and that's basically what I did. I'd do ice hockey, and I was in like a high performance ice hockey setup. So I'd go before school to do my ice hockey stuff, and then after school I'd do rugby, and then I'd go straight off to ice hockey again. So it was just, I was always quite sporty, playing lots of that stuff.
Yeah. And did I read you had a scholarship though? So you were.
Yes. Yeah. So that was basically. So after that, I didn't really have a plan. I was like, well, I'd like to like move to New Zealand or England or something and go play somewhere and travel a bit. Yeah. And then, got a bit of like an offer to go to university, and I thought, well, I don't really have the grades to get in.
Yeah.
Probably don't have the finances either.
Yeah.
Probably quite a good opportunity. I probably shouldn't say no to that. So that's how basically rugby got me into university.
And university was where, Vancouver? Or?
Yeah, so I lived in Abbotsford, which is about an hour, 2 hours away from Vancouver. So I moved to Vancouver, did that for about 2 years, and then jetted off
I got to say,
so.
you must have been there before. What a great city, Vancouver.
I've never been, mate. I've never been.
Oh,
No,
I've got to tell
you.
Wales toured there, but
I've got to tell you, if you lived
I think it
anywhere,
was during the Lions, mate. So I was busy.
are we taking another load of supporters over there? Were you?
Injured.
No, I've got to tell you, if you lived in there's a few places where you come back from and you go, do you know what? I could see myself there.
Yeah.
And Vancouver is definitely one of them. I thought it was
You
ace.
speak a lot about ice hockey. Have you been skating recently with friends? Do you still dominate the ice?
Well, to be fair, whenever we're playing, I'm not very good at spike ball, and it's a huge thing in the warm-ups and stuff. And so when people are doing it, I'm like, you know what? When the day comes that we play a game of ice hockey, you're all done for.
Yeah.
You're all done for. I'm just waiting for my moment, because that was my thing growing up. Was just I loved skating.
skater.
I loved doing it.
I used to have some Bauer turbos.
Yeah, it's just
I
so
remember
good,
we
isn't
used to-
it?
I mean,
It's
do you know what? There's so few ice rinks in the UK now, but
Yeah.
it used to be where you used to go and do a bit of disco, pulling down on a Friday, Saturday, and skating as well, obviously.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
It was a big deal. I used to go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah.
Guildford
Yeah.
Spectrum. When I moved back to London, we used to go.
Richmond was
Yeah.
where we were.
So
Richmond.
good. But yeah, like when we were kids, we used to just be playing road hockey. We'd be playing mini sticks in the basement. We'd be playing on the ice. Like it was just always a thing. Like my whole family loved it.
Can I just say,
Did
so
that.
did you grow up with sisters, brothers? What?
I've got one older brother. Yeah,
Okay.
so he played rugby. He didn't actually play ice hockey. He wasn't that into it. But all my cousins played ice hockey. So it was just, we were quite a big. My brother and I were kind of the only ones that played rugby. That was it. Like that's how they kind of found rugby. Was just,
and so
just us,
therefore, when you were growing up in Canada with your brother, did you have posters of ice hockey players on the wall, or did you have rugby people?
Yeah, like it was always ice hockey. So like 𝗢𝗧 𝗧𝗵𝗲 was one of the like famous ice hockey players, and she was like the first woman to like kind of do all the things. Like she was just so cool.
Yeah.
And like even like my uncle, he's super into ice hockey, and he named his daughter Hayley because she was just like that cool of a person. And it was quite cool that like a woman was doing that. And I think she's somebody that I always kind of looked up to. And obviously my life took a bit of a different path, but I think all the way up until I got a scholarship to go to UBC for rugby, I was like, I might make it in ice hockey. I was nowhere near doing that, and I was not good enough to do that. But
and women's ice hockey in Canada, is that a big deal? I mean, are they sort of very professionally paid and well looked after?
It's a huge deal, but it's actually not very professional at all. So that like there's just not a lot of opportunity in Canada to play professional sport, period.
Right.
And especially for women, like outside of university, you go to university and that's kind of like the big pathway. And then after that, there's just a huge drop off because there isn't any professional leagues. They've only just now started like the PWHL, which is like the NHL version for the women. So that's only come about in the last 4 or 5 years.
Do you get enforcers like the men's game?
Say that again, sorry?
Do you get enforcers like in the men's game?
Not so much in the women's because it's non-contact. So there's different rules for the women than there are for the men. So they've got to wear full like face masks.
Because it is brutal.
There's
the
no
men's
contact.
game.
Yeah, but like the fourth line grinders, when they come out, and they just
I've always been quite attracted to it in a way.
Yeah, no, it is good. It is good.
I mean, the puck can be a distraction, really.
Yeah, and to be honest, I spent more time in the penalty box than I did on the ice when I was playing. So I think that's probably why rugby just took off.
So when Tom mentioned about your journey from where you were growing up to playing for Canada, what age were you when you made your debut for Canada internationally?
Yeah,
rugby?
I think I just turned 20.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
young.
so I played under 18s, I played under 20s, and then I was
again,
20.
your debut was against.
Yeah, it was against England up in Doncaster. So yeah, it was a bit of a funny memory running out against some of the people that I play with now. So yeah.
Right. Who can you name names? Who?
Oh, I think like Poppy Cleal was definitely playing. 𝗧𝗵𝗲 I think was playing. I think Sarah Hunter was still in the mix. Packer was definitely around. So it was it was a huge chunk of
basically
people that were
the ones who are absolute legends now.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. And to be honest, I probably felt a bit starstruck because I kind of always followed rugby here because again there wasn't really rugby in Canada, so yeah, seeing people like 𝗧𝗵𝗲, and I remember 𝗧𝗵𝗲 turned up to one of our under 20s games to watch, and I was just like, oh my god, that's Emily Scarrett, like that's so cool.
And your family, your grandparents and your mother was English, or grandparents?
Yeah. So both my grandparents are English, and then my mum was born here and moved to Canada when she was quite little.
Whereabouts in the UK were those?
We're all based down south, so Plymouth, kind of Exeter way is where all my crazy family are visiting.
Naval town city.
Yeah, they live in quite small towns and they don't tend to leave too often. So
apple crunchers.
Yeah, so then that's the thing, like for my grandparents to drop everything and move to Canada was like unheard of. That was just not something that their family did, and it was just, they were quite local. They stayed in their village, they didn't leave. So when they decided to move to Canada, they obviously had goals and passions for things, and they wanted to go explore the world. But when I told them I was moving back to England, they were like, are you kidding me? Like, we've done all this, we've moved all the way here, and now you're just going to go back.
So
like,
did you sit them all down and did you tell them all together? Or
yeah, to be fair, it all happened
quite
quickly, because I just basically I just decided I wanted to do it, and I sent out these horribly cringy, like, highlight reels essentially of me playing.
Oh, I heard that. To English,
it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Yeah, I was just desperate to play over here. I was like,
put music to it.
Yeah, it's got the horrible music.
So sizzle reel. You sent some sizzle reels.
Yeah, it's actually, looking back on it, I actually am like, that is horrific. I can't believe that that's out there, and it's still on the internet if you want to find it. And
with all due respect,
Loz's got one on his phone.
I know. You must have that. It's called a CV, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, it's called See Me.
Yeah.
You obviously had some responses.
Yeah, to be honest, I only had one, and it was Bristol. They were the only team stupid enough to say, I mean, we're not going to stop you. You can come over here if you want. And I think they offered to pay for my flight, and they were like, oh yeah, we can probably get you a job at a local cafe.
So, I mean, whenever actually, kids say to me, I really want to go travelling, I want to do this, and this, to take your own initiative there and just to do it, and you might say it's cringy, but Bristol replied, right? And you ended up playing there.
But you weren't given a contract, is that right?
No, so at the time it was like, there wasn't even, I don't even think there was contracts. Like, it was just, we have got a bit of money that we can give to you for a flight. And I thought, sweet, a free flight, I'm gonna go share. They're like, yeah, here's preseason, you can come play. And I kind of thought I'd rock up, and if they didn't get picked, I'd go play for a local club, work in a coffee shop, and just have a good year out. That was kind of the plan. And then it kind of really just took off from there, to be honest.
Did you have to find a job?
Yeah, so I got a job in a local coffee shop straight across from Colston's school. So Pat Lamb used to come in the mornings because his kids went there, and I'd make him a horribly terrible flat white and hands shaking, and I'd give it to him, and then he'd go off to the big house.
Did he know that you played for Bristol?
I don't know if he actually did. I only saw him a handful of times, but his wife definitely did, because she was like, oh, you're one of the Bristol girls. So
hold on a minute. So you had no problem putting together sizzle reels and videos, and yet when the coach comes in and orders a cup of coffee,
you melt.
100%. That is literally the definition of who I am. That's literally, anytime there's an authority figure, I'm like, oh gosh.
Confrontation.
But like a keyboard warrior, man. I'll sit there all day and make a highlight tape, but no, I can't speak to anybody. No way. But so it was just an interesting time in life. I think I was at uni. I didn't really know what I wanted to do academically. I kind of struggled a little bit with that, and I just thought, I know what I want to do, and that's play rugby. So I'm just going to go. I'm going to live there. Didn't need to get a visa. Had a passport. Got a job.
Was the decision then made that you wanted to play for England, or did that come later down the line?
Oh, definitely not then. I didn't even think it was a possibility. Like, I hadn't even heard of what, they call it EQP, so like English qualified players. So I didn't even know that was a thing until I got here, and they asked if I'd had any ancestry that would qualify me, because obviously in the league there's different rules about it, right? So I then was like, oh, my mom's actually English, and had to submit all the paperwork for it. So that was the first time I'd even heard about being able to play for another country.
You are the first player, I'm not sure if you're the only, but you're definitely the first player to have played for England that has already represented another country internationally, right?
Yeah.
But you qualify. You did your stand down period of 3 years, was it?
Yeah.
Right.
That was quite common though, because
now it's 5 years.
I think it was Madison went from maybe England to Scotland, or the other way round, and 𝗓cis Williams-Morris went from England to Wales. So it was quite common.
Yeah, quite a few people had gone from England to other countries, especially, like the Scotlands, the Wales, the Irelands, like teams like that, that are quite local, right? Because you didn't have to relocate. But I don't think anybody had gone to England because there just wasn't a need for it. They've got such a big pool, and that was kind of why that rule was created, was mostly for like the Islander players to go back and play for the countries they were born in. So it wasn't really, I don't think it was really meant to go the other way, but I somehow
and you obviously you played we played so many different positions. Started in the backs, ended up nudging your way. No second row, we got that.
No,
but when you decided to, when you were playing for Canada, what position were you playing?
Hooker. Yeah, so I have 3 caps internationally at hooker.
Hooker, right? Okay. Yeah. And then was it purely a geographical thing, or you just felt actually, I mean, Canada are good, but England, there will be real opportunity with more than just rugby. There'll be growth in me and everything else if I move to England, and I might as well play for England then.
I think, to be honest, I moved to England to get experience playing in the hopes that I would be capped for Canada. I think that was probably my initial thought process, and that obviously did happen, and it happened quite quickly after I moved here. And then obviously life, and COVID happened, and had a few injuries back to back. And so, to be honest, it kind of naturally happened that time period, because for probably a year and a half of that, there was no rugby happening in Canada anyway. So I was still at uni, I was just chipping away at that, and I would spend kind of 6 months here playing rugby and 6 months back at home doing my uni stuff. So it was quite a good balance in that sense, because I didn't really feel like I was missing out on anything.
You got a degree in history?
I actually technically still have about 4 courses to complete for my history degree. It says on my Wikipedia that I've got one, so I'm going to keep that.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
You've been awarded one, Shanks.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's just going to happen, that somebody just gives me one. I don't know, maybe enough time has passed that they just give me one.
You become that famous that they just want to give you a degree.
I'm a bit far off yet, but I have hope.
Like Jamie Roberts. How did you find out then that you were going to gain your first cap?
Yeah, so it had been a bit of a weird kind of path, because I had been, right before the last World Cup, I'd been back in camp with Canada, and basically it was just kind of a selection thing. They were like, we've got enough hookers, we don't really need you. So I'd spent a period of time not playing for Canada and kind of sitting on the outside and just playing club. And so then just before the World Cup, they had a few injuries, they called me back in, I went into camp and I was like, it doesn't really feel right, like it just doesn't align. I haven't done the whole preseason. I just think I'm going to take a bit of a break from it and can look at it. And at this point I didn't even really know there was anything like on the line in terms of England and that. So said no to like that whole World Cup process with Canada, went home, carried on with my uni, moved back to Sarries. And then Six Nations rolled around, and at that point it had been 3 years since I'd played for Canada. And at that World Cup, a few props had got injured. Vicky Cornborough was having a baby, twins actually, and they were like, shit, we've got no loose heads. And I was at Sarries, and so was Hannah Botterman. And so Alex, the head coach at Sarries, rang me up and he said, look, we've got no loose heads. Would you be willing to move across and just cover for the next couple months? I was like, sure, if somebody will teach me how to do it, I don't mind, whatever.
Yeah, put your head down and push.
Yeah, put my head down, do it, so easy enough. So did that, and then played a few games, and then got a call from Lewis Deakin, the forwards coach, and he was like, hey, do you want to come play for England? Like, we kind of have nobody left. And I was like, oh, sure, sounds good. Like, and I kind of thought I'll go into camp and probably run around a bit, and they'll realize, she's not cut out for it, and send me home. And I thought, that's a pretty cool story to tell. I went into England camp once and got turned around. So
got kicked out straight away.
Yeah, got kicked out immediately, the fastest exit to ever happen. And then sure enough, the time came around, and I started on my first cap for England, and it was all a bit of a whirlwind, to be honest.
How were you, and that was against who?
Scotland. Yeah,
and
Six Nations.
Did you feel like, even though you'd played for Canada, because some of the other players must have known that, were you just accepted straight away?
Yeah, to be fair, I think I'd made quite a good group of friends, and I think I'd met so many of them through the club scene, and I think I honestly probably clicked a bit more with the English girls than I did with the Canadian girls.
Right.
I think just the sense of humor, I think growing up in an English household, I just had a bit more of that kind of I just think, and I came here and I wanted to fully immerse myself in it, and so I just kind of connected with people. So I think when I came in, there was probably a few people that were like, what the hell are you doing here? We've never seen you in here before. Yeah. But for the most part, people were just buzzing to have me in, I think, and it was I never really felt like I was the odd one out there, to be honest.
And who did you sort of gravitate to?
Yeah,
as in player wise.
Yeah, at the time, Sarah Bern and I were quite good friends. We had played at Bristol together, and then I was also at Sarries with Marley Packer and Poppy Cleland and those types of people. So I never felt like I could always lean on people, because there was always somebody who had been through it and kind of could do it. So they were just like, oh, what a cool thing, you're in camp, sweet, come along, and this is how it is. And I think at that time too, it was after the World Cup, quite a few players were away. Abby Ward was having a baby, so there was lots of transition, so it was quite a good time to come in, because it was kind of a fresh slate for them, and it was Mids' last kind of tournament, so there was a lot of things wrapping up and a lot of new things starting. So there was quite a few of us that got capped at the same time, so it felt like a good time to kind of.
And how many caps have you got now in total?
I've got 21 caps now.
Wow, amazing how soon that
it wraps up, doesn't it? Yeah. So, and you know what, it's honestly been amazing. I've enjoyed every single one of them.
It feels to me, looking at your career, whether you meant it or not, you're a bit of a traveller, aren't you? Because, you've started off in Canada.
Travel boy.
You've come over to England. You've gone to Bristol, but because of the circumstances, maybe it was the highlights reel or whatever, you went on a limb there, and then you moved to Saracens, and then you moved to Hartbury. There's a little bit of, do you just get a bit itchy feet and you think I've got to move on? Or?
Yeah, to be honest, I do think that's a little bit of it, and then also it was kind of just I would go to a place and then another opportunity would present itself, and I'm kind of in the mindset of you should take every opportunity that you're given, because you never know how long you'll be playing for. And I was at Bristol, and then Sarries asked to come, and I thought, Sarries is a pretty iconic team, that'd be incredible to play for them. Went there, had my time there, and then, you know, I just thought, you know what, the West Country's a little bit more for me, and so I moved back this way, and Gloucester's just such a good group of girls, and I think I really found my people when I went there. So it was just kind of one of those things where probably I was just a bit itchy to kind of move around a bit.
Well, some would say that, or some would say your timing is impeccable.
Yeah.
because just to tell our listeners, when you were at Bristol, you moved to Saracens and you won the women's Premiership title.
Yeah.
Who did you beat in the final when you were at
Exeter?
Exeter. Yeah. So you've put one back in the homeland there.
Yeah.
And then you left Sarries and you went to Gloucester Hartpury, and you won the Premiership final again.
Yeah.
Defeating Saracens. So
yeah.
So there's a common denominator here.
Yeah.
And it might just be you.
Well, you know what? I would never claim that. I think it's more just I see my opportunity. I like to take it. I like winning and I hate losing, so I gotta go as soon as things go downhill. But no, it was just, you know, it was just one of those things where I think I'm just kind of naturally gravitate towards high performance environments, and I love rugby, and I love the like people that just are all rugby all the time, and I think that's why I kind of just bounced around to those places. And you know, Bristol will always kind of feel like my home outside of Canada, so I think coming to Gloucester, they had that winning mentality, and also I then could live in Bristol and experience that, so it seemed like a really good balance for me.
So you've now got, to your name, 3 Canadian caps. You've got 21, did you say?
Yep.
21 England caps. You've got how many Premiership titles now?
3.
3 Premiership titles, and you're about to play in a World Cup.
Yeah, it's pretty. When you say it like that, I'm like, oh god, yeah, it has been a decent couple of years, that's for sure. But
and what age are you?
I'm 27.
Word,
which feels old. I think once you hit 25, people look at you like you're basically.
You're in your prime.
Basically
you're in your
retired.
Prime.
Not for front rowers.
You're in your prime.
I keep telling myself that, but we'll see.
That's me, by the way, putting my hands down on the...
Lawrence's arse is covering 2 seats there, that's why.
Thank you. It's my ADHD, actually, rather than my...
you injured yourself then in this year's Six Nations against Wales.
Yeah, it was such a shame. It was
We'll get you.
I know. I honestly think there was a little sniper in the Principality that just took me straight out 5 minutes into the game. Genuinely, 5 minutes in, Achilles was
grease on the floor.
What is that about? And you know what? The thing is, Linny coached me at Hartpury, and then he left for that Six Nations, and I thought, you've done this. I think you've tried to do this.
Yeah.
But
so that's a Ouija doll.
So that's a bit of a frustrating time, because I guess switching to the World Cup, you've missed both the warm-up games in the World Cup, which is frustrating for you, because you kind of want to, you want to lay a marker down, you want to be part of it. You've done all the training, which I would imagine. Was it a tough camp? Has it been a hard camp?
Yeah, it's definitely been pretty tasty, that's for sure, and it's been pretty long. We've had some pretty long bouts of being in camp, and yeah, to be fair, I was kind of in and out of some of it, so the start of it, I've almost actually scammed them, because I kind of missed the really, really hard stuff, and then I came back in.
You were rehabbing a little.
That's experience. It's experience.
Yeah, I was like, right, again, I don't know what is with me, but the timing is too good.
If you can time your pre-season, so you know, the bulk of it's gone.
Exactly. I mean, I'm kicking myself for it now, because I'm running around breathing like a pig. But
was your place in the squad? Was it? I mean, everyone did because it strikes me, John Mitchell, who I know very well. He coached us England in '99 when we had our own camp, and he's a good guy, and he's really developed as an incredible coach now. He's been all over the world, South Africa, New Zealand. Did he keep everyone guessing as to whether everyone would be included in the camp, or right up to the last minute, or was it a bit more straightforward than that?
To be fair, he's a pretty transparent guy, and I think he likes to kind of keep everyone in the know about where we sit and
just be
what
direct
we're doing.
and honest.
And so I think there was a lot of communication around kind of where he sees us in the squad, and I think especially in the front row, we probably have a little bit more leeway in terms of coming in injured, because they need quite a few of us to cover that position. So there was definitely that anxiety around not being picked and not being back fit and all those kinds of things, but he kind of just said, you know what, just crack on with it and we'll see how you get on, and then, you know, the selection will take care of itself once you're fit. So yeah, I think it's disappointing to obviously come into preseason a bit late and to miss out on some games, but at the end of the day, it could have been so much worse, and I'm just grateful to.
It's been in Treviso though. You've had a little camp in Treviso. Yeah. Did I read somewhere that you had a Prosecco day?
We did have it. You know what, Mitch
Tell me more.
As much as he's super intense with the rugby side of things, he's like way more intense with the bonding and the culture stuff. So he's like, we're going on a Prosecco tour. We're all gonna talk, and you're all gonna like each other.
Stick to Rugby, brought to you by Defender.
So yeah, you had the Prosecco day, which was good fun, yeah?
Yeah, it was a good end to a good training week.
Everyone behave?
Yeah, to be fair, for the most part. Hannah Bonneman did buy a huge, like, giant thing of Prosecco, but Meg's AirPods got stolen, so we did a bit of a hunt to get them back in there, so...
Did you find them?
We did get them back in the end, yeah, so everyone was like, well, we've done the night, we've completed it, we've got the AirPods back, it's kind of time to go home, and we were all in bed by about 9 o'clock.
What I noticed, because I mean, Shanks and I have been around a few international squads. I noticed with this Red Roses squad now, there's obviously a huge amount of talent. There's this incredible set of previous results, but there seems to be a calmness and a confidence without being anything more than that around this group that I rarely see in many. I mean, I remember it in certain other teams, but I mean, am I right in feeling that? I don't know. It just seemed. I mean, you've earned the right to be where you are now, right? Which is the favourites for the World Cup, the number one side in the world. You're Six Nations champions. You've been on this incredible run, but yet the closer and closer you get towards a big tournament, sometimes there can be a change in mindset. And for me, it just seems quite calm. Is that fair? And do you think has John Mitchell had much of an influence on that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, like this is my first World Cup, so it's hard to compare things because I think people that have played in the last World Cup in the 2017 and even 2014, like they've got such wildly different experiences of what a World Cup is like. So, it's quite a good mix of experience and people who are doing it for the first time, and I think that's what makes it so special, I think, because you've got those sounding boards for people who have never done it before, and you've got like world-class experience in players, but also at the end of the day, we're there because we love rugby, and I think that's what kind of drives us, and we love winning, but also that kind of reality that it's knockout rugby and it comes down to 1, 2, 3 games, right? So I think anything can happen and anybody can win on any given day, and that's why we kind of drill ourselves so hard to make sure that, we're on best form as much as possible, and then the rest of it will take care of itself. But yeah, I guess there's that pressure there for sure, but I think it's probably a privilege to have that much pressure going into a tournament. And yeah, I think Mitch has driven kind of the culture and that piece, so we have a lot of trust within the group, and yeah, we've had lots of chats around it as well about saying, like what's the pressure, like how's everyone feeling about it. So I think addressing those kinds of things as well when you go into big tournaments, rather
than making it the elephant in the room.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are talking about it. And are you a football fan? I'm not a massive football fan, but I am a women's football fan, so I don't really follow football until the women are doing something. And I'm like, I've got to be honest.
I love it. It's coming home. Like,
now that we're European champions, we're all women's football fans.
Yeah, exactly.
So as we understand it, you guys watch that. There is friendship between some of the Lionesses, some of the Red Roses. Did you guys follow it all in and around your training stuff?
Yeah, and to be fair, like I think the last Euros as well was kind of when it really switched for everybody. Like we watched that and it was like, whoa, this is really cool. Like this is something that is changing the whole face of women's sport in this country. And then, we got to watch the game when we were in camp the other day, and a few girls have made some really good connections with Mary Earps and that, and Chloe Kelly's been reposting some of our stuff, which is just so cool because like I think of them as like actual superstars. Like they're famous, right? Like they've got the whole thing going on, and for them to have the time to kind of look at women's rugby and think, oh yeah, like you guys.
When you see those results and the women winning, the England women winning, do you ever like visualize that for yourself of winning the World Cup? Do you ever think about it and what it could be like?
I think definitely you think like, wow, that's an amazing thing. And I think more for us too, like the driving force is like what it could do for women's rugby as a whole. And I think that, you have such a special opportunity and such a short opportunity to make like a lasting impact on people. And I think, not just going out there and playing rugby, but also showing our personalities and showing what we have to offer and allowing young girls to watch it and think, oh, I could do that. Like that's something that I want to do. I could be a professional rugby player, and having those dreams. And I think that we're all very conscious of that. And watching games like that and the Euros and that is like, I think just gives you that extra bit of edge, and you just think, oh, like I want that. Yeah. I'm going to get that. Like I've got to get that.
And also there's a story there because that Lionesses team lost the World Cup final to Spain, right? Yeah. And then, they've then gone on a journey, and they weren't playing brilliantly throughout the tournament, but they somehow found a way to win every game. And the irony upon irony is that they end up playing Spain again in the final, and then winning, in such incredible circumstances. I got to say, the one thing that I did was the shithousery displayed by the up until I thought the new goalkeeper, what's her name, Hannah Hampson.
Yeah.
Hannah Hampson.
Yeah.
I thought she was sort of quite calm, and then she confessed that she grabbed the Spanish goalkeeper's water bottle with all the penalty, with all the England penalty takers kind of moves on it, codes, and threw it into the England supporters, which I thought was just a beautiful piece of shithousery that I quite admired, actually.
And that's the thing, I think that's what sport's all about, right? When it comes down to the heat of the moment, you kind of turn into a little kid and everybody wants to win, and that's it. And you know, you're these professional people and you're switched on, but at the end of the day, you're playing a game because you love it and you love doing it with your mates, and that's kind of the crux of it.
Who are the players now in the England squad that sort of the characters that keep the squad going, that make it fun, that you want to be around when you're having food and when you're out socialising?
Yeah, to be honest, I feel like we've got quite a good few different groups and we all kind of mesh together. But yeah, I'd definitely say with Meg Jones, she's one of 2 token Welsh people in the team, and she loves to make
Wales
people known.
Love to have her.
That would have been like you playing for us, mate.
Yeah, she keeps things really positive, but also she's just such a driven athlete that she gets her shit done, and then she's also can have a good laugh.
She's vice captain as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So and Mo Hunt as well. She's a good laugh, and I think Mo will do anything to make anybody laugh, which is always a good character, especially when you're a scrum half.
What was the try celebration? Is that Meg's or is that Ellie's?
They've got they've got a little bit of a cowboy thing going on. They call themselves the Cowboys, and I think they just like to have fun with it, to be honest. So I think they've just kind of coined their own thing.
I've done that in a couple of nightclubs before.
Yeah, it's quite catchy, and we had.
I've seen you, Shane. I've got to be honest. I'm all for that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but you see in the men's game, the minute even Pollock does anything set out of the ordinary, guys get absolutely laced for it, don't they? Really. Whereas I'm all for it now. Maybe a few years ago I wouldn't have been.
Have you made one up? Have you got one?
To be fair, I don't score enough to be that cool. Like, it's just if I did that at every scrum, it just
that makes it even better. Though.
We got the driving maul going on.
Yeah,
now.
true. Actually,
I mean, listen, you front rowers are going to be scoring a lot of tries.
Yeah, I'll have to come up with something. But no, I'm the same. Like, I love that kind of stuff. I think that's what rugby's all about. And like, you know, it's this like poised professional sport. But at the end of the day, you're battering the shit out of each other for 80 minutes, and you're bound to kind of have a bit of fun with it. And I think it's all a good laugh at the end of the day. So yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Can I ask you some pretty straightforward rugby questions? You've already, in your 27 years on this planet, have achieved so much in your rugby career. If I could ask you to put a podium together of your 3 best moments in your career so far, am I asking you to divide your loyalties there, or is that?
I don't know.
I mean, you know, obviously you're. I don't know. Well, I mean, what are your 3 best days or memories that you've had in rugby so far? Yeah,
to be honest, probably getting my first cap for England would definitely be up there, and then probably playing at Twickenham, which is now Allianz Stadium, in that final against France, where there was like 70,000 people. That was like just incredible, and that was the first time the bus pulled up, and it was just like the streets were lined with people, and I have like never seen anything like that in women's sport. And I'd been on the other side of it watching men's games before, and I just never saw myself in the middle of that playing, and people have come to watch me play rugby. Like, that is just incredible that there's that much, you know, buy-in for it. So I think that's probably my number 1, to be honest. Getting capped for England is probably my second. And
of your 3 Prem final wins, if you had to pick the one that probably meant the most to you, or standout one, which one is it?
Yeah, to be honest, they've all been so special and different in each kind of way. I think
they're for 3 different, 2 different.
Yeah, and like, you know, we beat Bristol, you know, 2 years ago in the final, and that was quite special because that was my first season with Gloucester. This previous one, beating Sarries, you know, in their own patch, I think it was just incredible, and we'd had quite a long season, and I think we got tested. That takes a bit of beating. I mean, to beat them in their own patch, especially as they've got that kind of 100%. And like, just to do it with a group of girls, I think that probably takes the cake. But then again, like, winning it with Sarries was also quite special because I had such a special group of friends that I did it with, and that season had seen a few injuries. So
who you like the most?
Yeah, and you know what? Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to stay with my Gloucester girls because there's just I don't know, wearing the cherry and whites, like, there's just something about it, and it's just so special. And I think beating Sarries.
Well, any club that changes their stadium name to Queen's Home, I think is it's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
For the women's
favourite stadium you've played at then?
Ooh, you know what? I think Ashton Gate is actually up there. I love Ashton Gate. I think it's such a cool stadium. I think it's like got quite a football feel to it, but it's also like the pitch is just immaculate, and it's just amazing. So I'd say Ashton Gate's probably up there, to be honest.
Okay, most famous person you've made coffee for other than Pat Lam?
Ooh.
Or
I
met?
don't know.
Or met?
Yeah, I would say probably 𝗢𝗲 𝗧𝗵𝗲, to be honest. I don't know if she's ever entrusted me to make her own coffee, but I've definitely hovered over her shoulder while she's made one. So she's probably the most famous person I've ever met, and I think I'm still a bit starstruck every time I speak to her.
She's still there. Is she still the queen of?
Oh yeah,
England
she's
rugby?
in my head 100%, and I think in most people's head. Yeah, we're doing a little bit of a game during the World Cup where we've all got a stuffed animal, 𝗢𝗍 𝗧𝗍, and we've got to pull it out whenever somebody says it. And she got given the goat one because she is literally the goat.
You know what I find with
that's
her?
The way it is.
I've worked with her a lot in broadcasting and stuff. She's just really calm and measured and thoughtful, and talks a lot of sense, way more sense than Shanks and I. Let me say that now.
100%.
But she just seems very, very calm.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, the sign of a player who's got everything. I mean, I'm sure there are moments. She's been through her injury struggles as well, though.
Yeah.
And was facing some pretty dark times. But I've a lot of time for Emily.
Absolutely.
What do you do then to switch off from rugby? Like, what are your hobbies? To
be fair, at the moment it's pretty full on. I feel like we've not had much time to switch off at all. But
rest is the best.
Yeah.
Just come for a drive with us too.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
not a hobby, let me tell you.
Yeah, probably working on the flat, to be fair, getting that thing, even though it looks like there's not much progress. That's been kind of how our weekends have been spent, kind of sorting the flat out and stuff. But at the minute, to be honest, I kind of wanted to embrace everything about the World Cup, so I'm doing a bit of a scrapbook along the way, just to kind of, we get a lot of like mementos and things, and they end up just getting kind of stored away. So I thought I'd make a little scrapbook after each game. And
I think the challenge as a rugby player, and all three of us will relate, is that you live life for about a decade or two, if not out of a bag, right? So is remembering to unpack and pack again.
Yeah, 100%.
and not otherwise you just end up leaving. You run in, you throw boxes somewhere, you throw a bag down, you pick up another bag, and then you move out again.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's kind of, your life is defined in that way, really, and it's almost just taking time to stop, smell the roses a bit, and mark the moment, really.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I have to remind myself that as hard as it is sometimes to do that, it's like such a privilege to do it, and like how incredibly special that I get to do that as my job every day, and I get to live out of a bag like that. Me 10 years ago would have laughed in your face if you told me that this is what I was doing. So in the moments that it gets tough, you just remember that, like, wow, this is a dream, isn't it?
A Netflix series or
you know what? Yeah,
are you into TV?
I love a bit of trash television, to be honest. So I've been watching like The Ultimatum, Love Island, that sort of stuff. I think because it's just so mindless, you can watch it and
switch off,
and they just live such different lives from that we do. So we like Made in Chelsea as well. We've got like a little Made in Chelsea group that we watch that every.
Well, talking
every
about
time
watching
it's out,
together, I could be remiss if we didn't ask you about Sarah Bern, your relationship, the fact that you live together, that she's your partner. When you play against each other, I mean, because it is quite, I believe it's quite unique to be in that situation where you're actually, you're in the same career, you're playing against, but you're playing for opposite teams.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that work out?
Yeah.
Do you trash talker?
Do you trash talker?
And the thing is,
once you get your game face on, is it like, I'm not talking to you now for the next 24 hours?
Now, to be fair, we are quite competitive. Like, even in terms of like stuff around the house, we're quite competitive with things in general. So when it comes up to a match, we're both pretty passionate that the other one's going to win. But obviously, only one person can win and one person has to lose. Usually, it's Gloucester winning, but whatever. But no, I never probably would have seen myself in this situation, having my partner play for England and going up against her head to head in a scrum. So it's definitely a unique situation, and it's something that's quite special for the women's game. There's a lot of people that have relationships within the team and within other nations as well, and it's quite a cool, unique aspect of it. And the thing is like I love having her around because you always have somebody in your corner and your partner knows exactly what's going on. You don't have to explain anything. They get it. They totally just get it, and I think that's what makes it so special. And then also you get to travel the world and do all these things with the person that you care about the most, and I think like that's also just such a special element of it. But I think, to be honest, it's probably better going head to head rather than fighting for the same shirt. I think I might draw the line at that.
Who's ahead in the head to heads at the moment? I'm assuming you are, because you've moved to Hartbury, and did you beat them this season, last season?
We beat them in the semi-final.
Okay, so you're winning. Although it's not about winning and losing, but it is really. So you're ahead in the head-to-heads?
Yeah, to be fair, on paper, I have come just notched, a little bit ahead of her. But I think in terms of being an athlete, I think she's a world-class prop, and she's truly changing the game for the front row. And I don't think I could ever compare to the way that she's able to get around the park and the things that she's able to do. So I'll give her that one. She's a much better person, but I've got the better team. So there you go.
I've got to say something nice about her.
Yeah, exactly.
And excuse my ignorance, but have you been have you found yourself on the situation where you're both on the pitch at the same time?
Yeah, so yeah,
Playing for England?
We often our front rows are kind of like set in combinations, and we're often in a similar combination, which
that's a cool thing to happen.
It's just fantastic, and I love working alongside her. And she's only 28, and she's already been to, this is her 3rd World Cup, so it's just like, it's pretty incredible the experience that she has and the knowledge she can share, and it's just so good to have somebody that you can communicate with, and that's going to support you and wants the best for you no matter what. And it's such a high pressured situation that knowing that your partner wants the best for you in that situation is pretty special. So yeah, it's pretty,
and who's
cool.
Apart from your partner, who is the best player that you've come up against on a rugby field?
Oh gosh, best player. To be fair, that's pretty tough. There's been quite a few. I think, to be honest, a little pinch me moment was when we came out against Ruby Tui. I was like, whoa, this is like crazy moment. She was on the pitch, and I just never thought I'd share a pitch with her. But yeah, and I think probably somebody like Portia Woodman as well. Hopefully, if we come across them in the World Cup, that would be pretty cool. But honestly, I find it more impressive, like the 𝗧𝗮s and the 𝗲𝗍s and the Marley Packers. I'm like, they're the people that I knew growing up. Like I watched like Sarah Hunter on TV.
So like, durable as well. They just keep going.
Yeah, they just keep going, and I think like, I didn't really know a lot of the Kiwis. I only really knew the English players, and it's pretty special. And my first cap for England was Sarah Hunter's last cap, and I think that's just kind of such a special experience. And now she's our coach, so I think it's just such a cool.
You named
experience.
a couple of Kiwi players there, or New Zealand players. Obviously, France are up there as favourites, as well as Canada. Which team worries you the most?
You know what? I think Canada are definitely one of the hardest teams to play, because they're just so fit and they're agile and they never stop, and they've just got such passion to do it.
Good tournament team as well, right?
Yeah, they show up every tournament, and especially around the World Cup. So all those teams, I think, are quite threatening in their own ways, and any of those teams I think would put a bit of a challenge towards us. But yeah, I think I'm just looking forward to facing some different opposition in the World Cup, and just seeing what they have to bring.
You must be looking forward to actually getting back out on the field as well. How challenging has it been for you mentally to sort of keep yourself positive through the injury?
Yeah, absolutely. I think injuries are tough, right? Because as a rugby player, like, your entire value and your self-worth is so tied into.
Well, you're going to get injured at some stage.
Yeah, and it's
you just don't want it to be around a major competition.
Yeah, it's part of it, right? And I think when it happened in Six Nations, my immediate thought was, oh gosh, like, this could be bad, and this might be the World Cup over for me, and like, I haven't even got the chance to try and be selected. I've been injured, and I think looking back on the last World Cup, I was like, maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe going to World Cup just isn't something I'm going to do, and especially a home World Cup like that happens. That's once in a lifetime type of thing. So for me, it was just a matter of like, that bit of that shock, but I think that also kind of reminded me why I do it and how much I love it. And so I think, I kind of, escaped it a little bit, and it was only the pre-season that I had to miss, so I'm pretty grateful for that. And I think.
So your last competitive game was the final last season, was it?
I played against Wales at Principality, which was a pretty cool game, and then that was it. So final. Played at Principality about 20 minutes, not even really.
And what type of training you had to do? Because it's your Achilles, isn't it?
Yeah, I've had to do just tons of calf stuff, and like I've had to go on a machine, an ISOK machine, and where I just literally flap my foot about.
It's a lot of repetitive sort of warm-ups and training.
Ton of stuff. Yeah. So no, I'm just itching to get back out there, but hopefully. Barring selection, or
do you think there's a different vibe around the squad? Can you tell it's a big World Cup year that's in England rather than like a Six Nations tournament?
Yeah, to be honest, it feels. I think everyone's just really excited. Like it just feels like such a special time. Like really trying to embrace every moment of it. But I do keep asking people. I'm like, does this feel any different than a Six Nations to you? Or like, do World Cups actually feel a bit different? And everyone's like, just wait till we get inside that bubble.
You mentioned probably the coolest thing you've ever done is when you ran out at Twickenham. In front of that packed, then world record crowd, I think, for Twickenham. I think you guys, you can prepare all you like for a World Cup. What you won't perhaps be prepared for is the noise that will be in the stadiums that you're playing in, because, everyone knows about this tournament. People are going to get right behind it. The nation's going to get right behind it. And that's pretty cool to have that level of noise and that level of support out there. Yeah,
absolutely. And like when we last played at the Allianz, when we had a record crowd, the whole top tier was empty, and it's probably going to be full for that final. The first goal is obviously just to get there, and then you get those kind of goosebump moments where you're like, oh shit, now we actually have to do it. Like what? And I think that's what it's been a little bit even for me. Is just like, okay, all the prep's there, and then I'm like, oh shit, now we've actually got to go do it. Like shit, I didn't think that far in advance about it. Like, oh gosh. But no, I think, nothing really prepares you for those moments. And I think, adding an extra 20 20,000 people on top of what we've already experienced is pretty crazy, and it's hard to even picture that. But I think it's just incredible, and everyone's so excited to get it started.
Well, we can't wait. We wish you all the very best. I mean, we could reconvene this drive. This could be our driver, because we'd both be World Cup winners if you.
Yeah. So. Well, don't want to jinx it or anything, but you guys won't be speaking to me if I don't come back winning. So.
No, we won't pick you up again.
Yeah, you're never coming with us again. You loser.
I tell you, if you win the World Cup, right, we might let you drive this car.
Oh, okay.
Because you thought you were going to drive it today, didn't you?
I really thought I was going to drive this thing, and I was buzzing about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to drive it.
But I think
wasn't allowed.
I think defenders should probably give you a car.
Yeah, I do think it would be quite helpful, but I mean.
Well, between you and Sarah, I mean, I think you deserve one.
One defender. That's all we're asking for. Is one little tiny defender.